All right, let's talk about the Oscar nominated films. So I have watched all 10 of the Oscar nominees. I actually did this a bit ago, but I was, with the football channel, was very focused on the Super Bowl and all that. Finally had some time to get back to the movie channel. That's why I've been away. But yeah, always a fun video. I did this last year as well, and it was fun. So these are my top 10, I guess not top 10, but because there are top 10, but my ranking of the top 10 Oscar nominated films of 2023. Let's just get into it. Number 10, going with Maestro. It's the only one of this film that didn't really work for me. There are people that love this movie, and I get that. As someone who didn't know anything about Leonard Bernstein, I still was very confused sometimes what was about motivations and things like that. I did feel like just as a whole, I didn't really get what the movie was going for. I didn't get how it's supposed to make me feel. Certainly didn't really make me feel particularly much of any way at all. It was beautifully shot, very well executed. The performances were amazing, all that stuff. Cinematography was amazing, but at the end of the day, if I don't connect with the story, none of that other stuff really matters. So yeah, it's at number 10 for me. Number 9, I went with The Holdovers, which, it's a good movie. I like The Holdovers. Every other movie on this list I enjoyed, so it's not a negative towards The Holdovers. I thought it was a lot of fun. There definitely were some, so there's maybe more cheesy moments, but at the same time, that's what it was going for. It's just a cozy comfort movie, so I don't really have a lot of negative things to say about it. It did a good job at being the movie it wanted to make. Again, kind of nitpicks. I felt it could have been maybe a little shorter for me. Maybe it did. I don't know if I needed it to be that as long as it was, but it's just kind of not necessarily my thing fully, but I really didn't. I still enjoyed it. That was a very fun movie, so it's number 9 on the list, but it's still what I would say. I would consider it to be a good movie. Number 8 is American Fiction, which again, it just goes to show how strong this group of nominees is that this is number 8, because this movie I thought it was great. I really did. All of the top 8 made my best of list. So kind of goes to show, usually that doesn't happen at all. But yeah, really enjoyed American Fiction. I thought it was, hilarious. The reason why it's lower is I didn't love some of the other stuff, like the book writing stuff, all that stuff. Perfect. 10 out of 10 for me. But kind of the family drama stuff, again, I get why it was there. The movie wouldn't have made sense if it wasn't there, but I just wasn't always into it. So, that's kind of what cost it a little bit, but still a really fun movie. Number 8 on my list of the top 10 Oscar-nominated films. Number 7 on the list, I am going Poor Things, which was just fantastic. Never seen a movie like this. Never heard a score like this. That was unique. I thought Emma Stone would be my pick personally to win the Oscar for Best Actress. I think this probably would be my pick for Best Cinematography, just because of how big of a swing it was and how well it hit. You could argue Yorgos should win the Oscar for Best Director. So why is it only 7? Again, I don't really have a great reason for it, to be honest. I like the other movies better. There's no real flaw in Poor Things. It took so many swings and hit on all of them. I just think that there were other movies I kind of enjoyed watching more and kind of enjoyed thinking about after the fact more, but Poor Things still a really fun experience and one I'm definitely going to be revisiting countless times over, I'm sure. Number 6, Oppenheimer. I really liked Oppenheimer a lot. I'm not a typical huge Nolan head. That's not usually how I am. But this one was definitely a really fun experience. I just, again, it's kind of one of those things where it's how does a movie make you feel more than anything else? I would say Oppenheimer is certainly a more flawed movie than probably Poor Things, American Fiction, and The Holdovers. I think all of those other 3 movies have less flaws in it than Oppenheimer. Some of the writing is a little bit weird for me. Some of the scenes I do kind of take me out of it, but I just loved the good parts of it. I thought that the score was fantastic. I thought that the kind of constant, way it was almost making your brain rattle back and forth the whole time was interesting to me. I thought it was a really unique experience. And again, this one, it's going to win Best Picture. I think that's almost a lock at this point. I thought it was, the editing was unbelievable and such a fascinating watch, and I just really enjoyed it. So yeah, number 6 on my list. Number 5, Barbie. Barbie's kind of become the movie that's almost become cool to hate on all of a sudden. I'm not sure why. I really liked Barbie. I thought it was really funny. Granted, I'm a huge Gerwig and Baumbach fan, so pretty much everything they do, I like that's just how I am. But I mean, again, I said American Fiction might be the funniest movie of the year, but it probably isn't. Barbie's probably the funniest movie of the year for me. So many times I was just busting out laughing. The Ryan Gosling whole "I'm Just Ken" thing. That is the song that I sometimes on my runs will now listen to for sure. Definitely very fun. But just in general, so many fun moments in this movie. That's kind of the main thought I have towards it. So yeah, number 5 on the list. Number 4, Killers of the Flower Moon, which I'm a little surprised. It almost seems like it's going to be like fighting to try and take home a statue at this point, where people thought it was going to be like an awards juggernaut at a certain point. But I thought it was really good. Like, I know the runtime kind of will scare some people off. I get it. Like, that it's a long time. It's a long time. It's 3.5 hours. It's a long time. But so much of it was so well done. Again, I have reviews for most of these videos on this channel already, or most of these movies on this channel already, so check that out if you want to hear more of my thoughts. But yeah, fantastic movie. It's number 4 on my list. Number 3, Anatomy of a Fall makes the list, which, again, talk about editing. I thought the editing was great in this movie. I think it was really kind of subtle, but even at times it was kind of loud and in your face, like that opening scene. So I'm glad it got the editing nominee. I'm glad it got the, directing nominee. I thought all of that was well deserved, and it's a movie that's a lot of times understated, which doesn't often get talked about. But in the Academy, right, usually kind of like a little more flashy things. And while I doubt it's going to win anything, I thought it was a great film and very worthy of its nomination. Number 2, I am going with Past Lives. Past Lives was, one of my favorite movies all year. I was like, is this going to be my favorite movie of the year? Ended up not being, but, very close. This is the movie, people were talking about the Barbie snubs, but this is the movie that deserved better, I thought. I thought that all the actors should have been nominated, and none of them were. I believe this one only got screenplay and, and acting, or screenplay and picture. I thought that, Celine Song totally deserved it for directing, in my opinion. She would have been one of my 5 picks. I thought this was just a really well-made movie, and really, again, talk about telling a story through subtlety. I'm not sure if I'll say no movie did it better than that this year, but very few did, if any did. Incredible film. Number 2 on my list. But number 1, it's The Zone of Interest. The Zone of Interest was the last movie I saw out of these 10 nominees. I still haven't made a review on it. I've been meaning to, but I feel like I overthought it, and now I feel like I missed my opportunity, but maybe I still will make it. My favorite movie out of the 10 nominees. My second favorite movie of the year, period. I was blown away by The Zone of Interest. I thought it was brilliant. And, Jonathan Glazer, I'm really big fan of at this point. One of my favorite directors, has an argument to be my favorite director at this point with some of what he's done. Because I thought Birth was fantastic. Sexy Beast I wasn't as crazy about as some other people were. I think everyone liked Under the Skin. And The Zone of Interest, I just thought was terrifying, quite frankly. Maybe one of the scarier movies you'll ever see. Just when you think about the historical context and everything, the way it was filmed, reminds me a lot of like a Michael Haneke film, which I know the main actor in The Zone of Interest was in The White Ribbon, and he kind of talked about it as almost like a sequel to that movie, which was an interesting way to view it. Again, if you haven't seen The Zone of Interest, I can't. I don't know if I can say I fully highly recommend it, because it depends on what you want to get out of a film. It definitely is more of like it's an art film. I mean, that's what it is, and it is terrifying despite the fact that it's a PG-13 rating. There's no violence on screen. I actually joked with, I saw with my fiance, I saw The Zone of Interest in American Fiction. We saw those together, and we joked about how there was more on-screen death in American Fiction than in The Zone of Interest, which we did not expect going into it. But that's it was, it was just an incredibly masterfully made film, and I'll make some video at some point getting in more of my thoughts, but it's number 1 on my list. I would have it winning Best Picture. I would have Glazer winning Best Director. Personally, none of that's going to happen, unfortunately. It'll win Best Sound probably, and would deserve it, but I think that's all it's going to get, but it deserves a lot, in my opinion. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the 10 nominees, 10 good movies. Let me know, what do you think in the comments below? What do you agree with, disagree with? Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.